Welcome to Santa Clarita Weekly, where we cover all things local in Santa Clarita Valley every Saturday morning at 9 on KQRU 107.9. Join hosts Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty as they uncover the latest news, events, sports highlights, and more, keeping you connected and engaged with what matters most in our hometown.
All right, so welcome back for another edition of Santa Clarita Weekly with Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty. I'm Sage, he's Tim. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. And we are also going to be on Thursdays on the same station, but as of this recording, we're still waiting to see which time slot we will be in. But we're also on YouTube and Instagram, and you can find us online at santaclaritastar.com. So this week, we're going to be talking about local sports again. So in sports, the West Ranch baseball team is in first place in the Foothill League with an 8-2 record, and Valencia put together a 5-game winning streak as the season comes to a close. The Saugus softball team is in first place in the Foothill League with an undefeated 11-0 record and has won 12 games in a row. The West Ranch boys volleyball team, which won the CIF Southern Section Division IV Championship in 2024, opens playoffs as the Foothill League champion. The Dodgers took 2 tough losses on the road in Chicago against the Cubs, but won 2 of 3 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Dodger Stadium. After winning the first 2 games of the NHL playoffs against the Edmonton Oilers, the Kings lost 3 in a row and are on the verge of elimination. So I'm going to start out and talk about California High-Speed Rail. So the California High-Speed Rail project, aiming to connect San Francisco and Los Angeles with a sub-3-hour train, faces significant hurdles, and CEO Ian Chaudhry is trying to secure private funding to revive the project, which is plagued by skyrocketing costs, now exceeding $100 billion, triple the initial estimate, and potential federal funding cuts. The original 2020 deadline is long past, and even with secured funding, completion of the San Francisco to Los Angeles segment may take 2 or more decades. Chaudhry is proposing a state repayment program to attract private investors while aiming to build a system that spurs economic growth and reduces emissions. Construction is underway in the Central Valley, but critics express doubts about the project's completion and its potential impact on the state agricultural areas. Gavin Newsom is prioritizing the completion of the high-speed rail line between Merced and Bakersfield, a position he reiterated on his podcast. This is Gavin Newsom back in March. So California's high-speed rail project was meant to revolutionize travel, but the reality is a story of delays and ballooning costs.
Imagine a train zipping from San Francisco to Los Angeles in just 2 hours and 40 minutes. That was California's high-speed rail dream in 2008, a $33 billion promise of progress. Fast forward to 2025, $15.7 billion spent, no trains running, and costs soaring to $128 billion. What went wrong? Let's dive into the saga of California's high-speed rail project, spotlighting one man, a Santa Clarita Republican named Mike Antonovich, whose political deal added billions to the tab. Antonovich's Palmdale detour, alongside Democratic bureaucracy and Elon Musk's Hyperloop hype, turned a bold vision into a cautionary tale. In 2008, California voters approved Proposition 1A, greenlighting a $9.95 billion bond for an 800-mile high-speed rail. The pitch? A 220-mile-per-hour train connecting San Francisco to LA by 2020 for $33 billion, with private investors footing much of the bill. It was a Democratic dream championed by Governor Jerry Brown, but by 2012, costs had doubled to $68.4 billion, and one Republican's influence was already reshaping the project.
I introduce my colleague from the 5th Supervisorial District, Mike Antonovich.
Enter Mike Antonovich, a Republican Los Angeles County Supervisor with 36 years of political clout, representing the Santa Clarita Valley and the Antelope Valley, a desert region hit hard by 14% unemployment in 2011. Antonovich saw the rail as a lifeline. Antonovich's vision wasn't just talk, and he sealed the deal with a backroom move. A 2022 New York Times expose revealed he traded support for a lucrative Marina del Rey lease renewal with Jerry Epstein, a CHSRA board member, for Epstein's vote to route the rail through Palmdale. Art Bauer, a former staffer for California's Senate Transportation Committee, put it bluntly. If I get my lease, you get my vote. That was the deal. The result? A 41-mile detour through the Mojave Desert and Tehachapi Pass, adding $8 billion, 12 minutes to LA trips, and engineering nightmares. 9 tunnels, 200-foot viaducts, and the steepest grade in the project. That one political favor set off a chain reaction of delays. Experts like France's SNCF had urged a direct Interstate 5 route, but Antonovich's clout prevailed, prioritizing a city of 152,000 over California's urban core. By 2014, facing protests from Acton residents over noise and environmental groups for building the train through the Angeles National Forest, he doubled down, proposing a $22.6 billion tunnel-heavy route to Burbank. That route is still unfunded in 2025. No private investors stepped up, and only 119 miles are under construction. Why? Liberal columnist Ezra Klein, in a 2025 New York Times piece, claimed that this was a Democratic failure rooted in bureaucracy.
I don't want to give anybody credit for a vision that didn't happen. High-speed rail you have a great quote to me in this, I use it in the book. High-speed rail has undermined the public's faith in what can get done. It undermines the next high-speed rail, right? And the thing that I want to see happen is a kind of reckoning inside the governing, I would call it a culture. It's not just laws. It's not just regulations, although it is all those things, but it is a culture of what happens when the Democrats who are setting this stuff up get in the room together. And people start raising their hands and saying, what about this? And what about that? And how about the other thing? And instead of hear and no, everybody gets kind of a little bit. And it's not the only thing going on. But there is something wrong in a culture that so often fails to deliver what it promises. I mean,
Klein points to what he calls vetocracy, a system where red tape and stakeholders paralyze progress. California's environmental reviews cost $1.3 billion in stalled land acquisition, with 92 of 2,300 parcels still unacquired. The CHSRA, run by Democratic appointees, spent $15.7 billion without tracks, marred by cronyism with politically connected consultants. In 2019, Governor Gavin Newsom admitted defeat, scaling back to a $35 billion Merced-Bakersfield segment, a train to nowhere with just 2 million projected riders. California's love of process over outcomes is stark when you compare globally. Japan built its Shinkansen in 5 years for $9 billion, $26 million per mile. California's at $176 to $256 million per mile, with a 2030 to 2033 target for 171 miles. Klein warns this erodes trust, pushing voters towards skepticism over liberal promises. Other Democratic compromises didn't help. A $30 billion San Jose route, a $35 billion Central Valley start, and a slower LA blended system added $40 to $60 billion in 20 to 30 minutes. Antonovich's reroute and excessive bureaucracy were not the only things in the way of completing high-speed rail. In 2013, Elon Musk threw a curveball by introducing his vision for a Hyperloop. The Hyperloop was a theoretical system that would propel passengers in pods through low-friction tubes. His biographer, Ashley Vance, says Musk hoped it would kill the rail, protecting Tesla's car business. Hyperloop One raised $450 million but collapsed in 2023, leaving nothing to show. Its real impact? Fueling skepticism, giving critics and Republicans ammunition. Republicans pounced. In 2025, Donald Trump called California high-speed rail the worst managed project, launching a $4 billion funding review. Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley demanded an FBI probe. Today, 119 miles are under construction, with Merced to Bakersfield eyed for 2030 to 2033. Palmdale's $22.6 billion link to Burbank, unfunded. The full San Francisco to LA route? No timeline, with a $100 billion gap.
And we're diving into how figures like Mike Antonovich, the former LA County Supervisor for the 5th District, which Santa Clarita Valley is a part of. Excessive bureaucracy and the allure of Elon Musk's Hyperloop vision contributed to this massive setback. You're listening to KQRU 107.9 FM in Santa Clarita. You can listen to Santa Clarita Weekly on Saturday mornings at 9 and on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you listen to podcasts. Tim, can you talk to us about local sports?
All right. So, let's talk about the Foothill League baseball and softball teams. Their regular seasons are coming to an end, and playoffs are about to start up here in a couple weeks. So as the season comes close to ending, West Ranch is holding on to first place in the Foothill League, the West Ranch baseball team. The baseball team split a pair of games against Hart, but they're in first place in the Foothill League with an 8-0 record. West Ranch beat Hart 3-1, but lost the next game to Hart 6. West Ranch plays Golden Valley next in the Foothill League. The Hart baseball team is tied with Saugus for second place in the Foothill League. They both have 7-3 records. Hart went 1-1 against West Ranch and plays Canyon next in the Foothill League. Saugus lost 2 games to Crespi 8-2 and to Sierra Canyon 4-0, but didn't lose any ground in the Foothill League standings. Both Crespi and Sierra Canyon are not in the Foothill League. But Saugus plays Castaic next in the Foothill League. The Castaic baseball team is in fourth place in the Foothill League with a 6-4 record. Castaic won a pair of games over Canyon, 5-2 in the first one and 14-1 in the second. And Castaic plays Saugus in their next Foothill League game. The Valencia baseball team is ending the season on a strong note with a 5-game winning streak. Valencia beat Golden Valley 9-7 in 9 innings and Camarillo 14-5. Valencia beat Canyon twice, Golden Valley twice, and Camarillo in their 5-game winning streak. Canyon plays Trinity Classical Academy next. We'll love to see how this all plays out because Valencia is in 5th place in the Foothill League, even at 6-6. So we'll see if they can get their record up a little bit and apply for an at-large bid for the playoffs because they've been playing really good baseball here at the end of the season. The Golden Valley baseball team lost 2 games to Valencia. Golden Valley plays West Ranch next in the Foothill League. And the Canyon baseball team lost 2 games to Castaic. Canyon plays Hart next in the Foothill League. On to softball. The Saugus softball team is undefeated in the Foothill League. They're in first place with an 11-0 record and have won 12 games in a row. Saugus beat Hart 20-1 and Golden Valley 14-1. The 12-game winning streak started on March 25th with the 14-8 win over Hart. Saugus plays Castaic in its last Foothill League game of the season with a chance to finish 12-0. The Valencia softball team is in second place in the Foothill League with a 7-3 record. Valencia shut out Castaic 8-0 and Canyon 5-0. Canyon plays Golden Valley next in the Foothill League. The West Ranch softball team is in third place in the Foothill League with a 5-4 record. West Ranch lost to Saugus, but beat Chavez 13-5. The next Foothill League game for West Ranch is against Hart. The Hart softball team lost to Moore Park 9-0, but shut out Castaic 10-0. Hart plays West Ranch next in the Foothill League. The Canyon softball team beat Golden Valley 7-2, but lost to Valencia 5-0. Canyon plays Castaic next in the Foothill League. The Castaic softball team lost to Valencia and Hart. They play Canyon in their next Foothill League game. And Golden Valley lost to Canyon and Saugus and plays Valencia next in the Foothill League. In high school volleyball, boys volleyball, their playoffs, CIF Southern Section playoffs have started. The West Ranch team opens the Southern Section volleyball playoffs in Division 2. They were in Division 4 last year and won the championship. West Ranch boys volleyball team heads to the Southern Section playoffs as the champions of the Foothill League. West Ranch was undefeated in the Foothill League at 12-0, and the team won the CIF Southern Section Division 4 championship last year over Valencia in the final match. This year, West Ranch is in the Division 2 playoffs and plays El Segundo in the first round. El Segundo is 13-6 and the 4th place team from the Bay League. Canyon, Valencia, and Saugus are also headed to the CIF Southern Section playoffs. Canyon finished in second place in the Foothill League with a 10-2 record and plays San Marino in the first round of the Division 3 playoffs. San Marino is 26-4 and the champion of the Rio Hondo League. Valencia is third place team from the Foothill League with a 7-3 record and plays Murrieta in the first round of the Division 3 playoffs. Murrieta is 27-4 and the second place team from the Southwestern League. The Saugus boys volleyball team plays Chaminade in the first round of the Division 5 playoffs. Saugus is the 4th place team from the Foothill League with the 6-6 record. Chaminade is 12-12 and the 5th place team from the Mission League. The Trinity Classical Academy boys volleyball team plays Pacific Lutheran in the first round of the Division 8 playoffs. Trinity finished in third place in the Heritage League with a 3-6 record. Pacific Lutheran is 10-3 and the second place team from the Mulholland League. Now I'm going to hand it over to Sage to talk about the Dodgers.
All right, thank you, Tim. So let's talk about the Dodgers. The Dodgers pounded the visiting Pittsburgh Pirates in a couple games at home after losing 2 close games to the Cubs in Chicago. The Dodgers lost to the Cubs 11-10 and 7-6 in a short 2-game series before heading home to Dodger Stadium to play the Pirates. Even though the Dodgers were shut out in the first game 3-0, they bounced back and beat the Pirates 8-4 in one game and 9-2 in the other. The Dodgers offense started clicking in the final 2 games against the Pirates, but the pitching staff took a beating. 2 starting pitchers are hurt and 1 reliever is nursing injuries too. Tyler Glasnow, who is from Santa Clarita, lasted only 1 inning in his start against the Pirates. He threw only 17 pitches before leaving with a shoulder injury. Blake Snell is also out with a shoulder injury. They were both placed on a 15-day injured list. Reliever Blake Trinan is also working through injuries and is not available out of the bullpen. Despite the injuries, help is on the way. Tony Gonsolin is expected to join the rotation in May, and Clayton Kershaw has been making rehab starts in the minor leagues, preparing to join the rotation. In the meantime, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Dustin May, and Roki Sasaki will be asked to carry the load until the Dodger arms heal. The Dodgers are wrapping up a 3-game series at home against the Miami Marlins before heading on the road to play the Braves in Atlanta. So, Tim, how concerning is this shoulder inflammation for Glasnow, especially considering his recent leg cramps and past elbow issues that sidelined him during the 2024 postseason?
Yeah, it's not concerning in the immediate sense. I heard manager Dave Roberts, say that he doesn't expect Glasnow or Blake Snell to be on the out of action for very long. It's going to be 2 weeks before either one of them are ready to come back. But on the positive note, the shoulder injury doesn't look like it's anything that needs surgery or anything that needs any kind of other kind of treatment. It just needs rest, and for whatever reason, it's getting a little overworked this early in the season. The concerning part is that, Tyler Glasnow has a very long injury history, and this seems to be the pattern with him, is that he just can't stay healthy. And so this is just another nagging injury to add to the list of injuries that Tyler Glasnow has had over his career. But all things look like it won't be for very long. He just, like I said, needs to rest the arm up, get it back up to strength, and he'll be back in the rotation hopefully by the end of May. But you never know. I mean, Glasnow is just one of those guys who is going to be. You have to be careful with Glasnow because he will get hurt, and it seems to happen every year with him that he's always struggling to get through one injury or another.
So, considering his significant contract, how much pressure is there on Glasnow to return quickly and perform at an all-star level?
Well, I don't know if there's any pressure. I think, the one strength that this Dodgers team has is it's very deep in starting pitching. Even though that Glasnow and Snell are out with injuries, they have Tony Gonsolin and they have Clayton Kershaw, and they have Shohei Ohtani. We were just waiting to join the rotation. Doesn't look like Ohtani will be able to pitch until after the All-Star break. But there are arms in this organization, on this team, that can come in and fill in the gaps with injured pitchers. So, yeah, Glasnow has the benefit of time. He can take time to heal, to rest, and to build up his arm strength again. And I don't think it's going to affect the Dodgers. They have 3-star pitchers in the rotation without Tyler Glasnow in it. With Yoshinobu, with Yoshi and Roki Sasaki, and Dustin May. Dustin May has been pitching great the last couple of times he's been out. He looks like he pitched a couple years ago when he was looking like he might be an all-star. So yeah, the Glasnow can take time to heal, to recover, and there's no pressure on him right now. There's no pressure on him to rush back and be an all-star pitcher. He doesn't need to be an all-star pitcher on this team. He needs to be an effective pitcher who can stay healthy and not miss any more starts.
All right. So, Tim, can you tell us about the NHL? I know you follow the LA Kings. So tell us how are they doing?
It's been a rough week. It's been a rough week for the Kings. The Kings are facing elimination in the playoffs. They started their playoff series against the Edmonton Oilers, winning the first 2 games at home. They got a little lucky in the first one. They needed a last minute goal to beat the Oilers 6-5 after having a 4-0 lead in that game and blowing it in the third period. But they won that game. They won game 2, and they went up to Edmonton for game 3, and that's where things started to get bad. The Kings started the NFL playoffs on the right foot with 2 wins on home ice against the Edmonton Oilers, but the Oilers have won 3 games in a row and are on the verge of eliminating the Kings from the playoffs for the 4th year in a row. The Kings lost Game 5 to the Oilers 3-1 and went down 3-2 in the best-of-7 series. Andrei Kuzmenko gave the Kings a short-lived 1-0 lead in the second period, but the Oilers scored the next 3 goals to win the game. The Oilers outshot the Kings 46-22. Kings goalie Darcy Kemper made 44 saves in the game. Matthias Janmark scored a goal in the third period for the Oilers to break the 1-1 tie, and the Oilers scored an empty net goal at the end of the game.
But, a couple lucky bounces, to be honest. Like that second goal, it hit a stick and then it bounces off the ice. And, they pushed hard, but, I really liked our game today. I thought we came out with a high intensity and, we just didn't get the bounces there. But, we're looking forward to go home. We like playing at home. We're comfortable there, and now it's best of 3.
Yeah, those was outstanding. We got to find a way to win there, but some big save from him. So we'll take the positive out of this.
As a group, you guys played so well for 40 minutes. In your mind, what kind of changed in the third period there? It seemed like a different game flow.
Yeah, it seems like they feed off the crowd at the end. They had more energy, and obviously they came back from 2 goals behind. So obviously it takes a lot of energy.
Too much defending after a while?
Yeah, but we have to find a way to seal the deal. We do the little mistake, and it's not only against Edmonton. You go to the next round, it's the same thing. You up 3-1, you got to seal the deal. You got to make those plays when it counts. Like it's hard. It's hard to win, and especially on the visitor side.
We were skating. I thought we skated all game. That's something we wanted to do to improve upon. I thought we skated a lot better tonight than we did Game 3, and had plenty of opportunities to put it away and did not. So here we are. We go home 2-2 instead. Get a power play in overtime. Those are tough.
Eric? The Kings can win Game 6 in Edmonton. Game 7 will be back in LA, where the Kings have the best home record in the NHL. But it doesn't look like it's going to be an easy road for them.
So, Tim, from the Kings' perspective, what went wrong after their initial strong start at home? And were there any noticeable changes to their gameplay or the Oilers' approach?
No, there wasn't any change to their strategy. They came in actually with a different strategy on their power play, on their special teams. They're playing 5 forwards on their power play. They don't have any defensemen on their first line power play, and it's been working. The power play has been scoring. They scored 5 power play goals in the first 2 games, and it looked like it had the Oilers scrambling to figure out how to defend against that lineup, those 5 forwards on the ice during the power play. What the Kings have been struggling to do is finish off games. They had a 3-2 lead against the Oilers in Game 4, and they gave up the puck. Byfield made a really bad play. He gave up the puck. The Oilers scored a goal with under 30 seconds to play in the game, tied the score, and won it in overtime. So it was a bad play on Byfield's part. It was a bad play on the Kings' part for not being able to finish off those final minutes of the game and keep the Oilers from scoring. And that's been the problem. The Kings play good for 2 periods. They get a lead. They dominate the game for 2 periods, and then the third period rolls around and they kind of fall apart. They don't know how to finish the game. They don't know how to finish off the Oilers. And if you let the Oilers hang around and in a close game, they have the players, they have the ability to score goals and make it closer. And the last 2 games, in games 4 and 5, they did that. They were hanging around. They were close at the end of the game, and they found a way to score goals and tie the score and send games to overtime and win. So yeah, it has nothing to do with the Kings changing their outlook, their approach to the games. It's just they haven't been able to finish. They haven't been able to finish these games, and you can't do that against the Oilers.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with the Kings, but it's time to wrap up. That's our show. So tune in next week for more discussions about the news from Santa Clarita. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM at 9 on Saturday mornings and soon Thursdays as well. And you can also watch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and listen to us on SantaClaritaStar.com, wherever you listen to podcasts. So leave us a comment and be sure to subscribe to Santa Clarita Weekly Online. Thanks for listening, and and have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Santa Clarita Weekly. You can watch the show on Santa Clarita Star's YouTube channel and Facebook page, as well as listen in on the radio at KQRU 107.9. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com for more content and tune in right here to KQRU 107.9. A new voice for Santa Clarita.
As you go about your day, you want to know what's happening to keep you ahead. The Santa Clarita Star has you covered. At SantaClaritaStar.com, you will find stories that you won't find anywhere else. See the local news website everyone is talking about. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com today.